Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dr. Chen Kaiwa. I am a senior lecturer from Faculty of Business and Communication. Can you hear my voice? Are you able to hear my voice?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so the title of this training is Research Design and Methodology, a comprehensive overview. So in our training this afternoon, I will talk about how to design your research flow, as well as some knowledge on research methodology. But basically, our training today will focus on social science. Okay. Okay, first and foremost, let me to show you a brief education background. Okay, I graduated from UPM, University Putra Malaysia. This is my current research area. Okay, consumer behavior, sustainable consumption, environmental education, as well as recycling and solid waste management. So currently, I'm doing research in this research area. Okay, so just a very quick introductions. Okay, what is research? Okay, normally, whenever we want to conduct a research, okay, it is because we want to solve certain issues in our daily life. Okay, if there is no any issues for you to solve, okay, and I think this is not a research, okay, because the main purpose for us to conduct a research is because we want to solve certain issues in the life. For example, environment pollutions, the huge volumes of solid waste, traffic jams that we face every day. So maybe these are some of the problems that you can observe in your daily life. And maybe you are trying to conduct certain research to solve these problems so that the research output can help us to improve or enhance our quality of life. Okay, so this is the definitions of a research. Okay, so what are the characteristics of a good research? So maybe we can look at the point here, okay, in blue color. Okay, when we want to conduct a good research, definitely you need to have a very clear purpose. What are your research objectives? You must be very clear with it. Okay, and then second one, okay, research process. Okay, you need to plan your research process. Okay, starting from the research location. Okay, where you want to conduct the research. Okay, any reason. Okay, and then target population. Who will be the target? Okay, for your research. For example, low income household may be your target populations. University students, household, single mother. Okay, so these are the examples of target populations that may be occur, okay, in your research process. Okay, same goes to sample size. Okay, how to determine the sample size? Okay, and then sampling technique. How are you going to select the correct participants to involve in your survey? Okay, so these are the important elements that we should consider throughout the research process. Okay, and then research design. Are you going to do a quantitative research, or are you going to conduct a qualitative research? Or actually you are planning to do a mixed mood research? Okay, so these are the things that you can consider when you plan for your research design. Okay, data analysis. Okay, what types of software are you going to use to analyze the data? For example, SPSS, MOS, PLS, or NVivo. Okay, so it depends on your research objective, okay? And what types of inferential tests that you are going to use to test your research hypothesis, okay? For example, Pearson correlation, logistic regression, multiple regression, ANOVA, t-test, okay? So these are the things that you should consider in your data analysis. And then you should learn the correct way, okay, to present the findings either in your dissertation or in your articles, okay? And then you should know how to conclude your project or your research, okay? And if your data collections process involve human being, that means you need to apply for ethics approval before you start your data collections. Okay, and then you are very welcome, okay, to list down any limitation, okay, throughout your research in chapter 5 as well. Okay, so these are the common mistake, okay, when a postgraduate student or a researcher or an academic staff, okay, when they conduct a research, okay, so maybe we can try to avoid the common mistake here in the future, okay. For example, you do not know the main reason for you to conduct a particular research, okay. Maybe you conduct certain research, but in fact, okay, this is not the main issue or main problems that occurs in your daily life. So if there is nothing for you to solve, okay, we do not call it as a research. Okay, so please bear in mind, okay, and you should have a clear research objective, okay, and clear hypothesis, okay, in your dissertation or your research articles. And of course, in social science, okay, theory and model is very important, okay? In a social science research, okay, your conceptual framework should be able to have the evidence or the support by relevant theory or model, okay? This is very important in social science research, okay? And you should know, okay, the problem statements and research gaps in your research, because for master and PhD students, okay, novelty or the contribution to the body of knowledge is very important. Okay, so this is the main purpose, or this is the main reason why you further study to Master of Science or PhD level, okay, because you want to close the research gaps and enhance the understanding of general publics, okay, towards a particular research topic. Okay, so your contribution and your your research gaps, okay, or novelty or the contribution to the body of knowledge is very important in every particular research, okay? And you need to know, you need to learn how to conclude your research, and you should be able to compare, okay, your current research output with the previous research outputs. Are they in line among each other, or whether the result is contra with the previous result? So in chapter 4, okay, you should be able to compare the result between your own research and previous research, okay? And of course, reference list is also very important, okay? You should be able to present the reference list according to the correct reference format, okay? And you should know how to get the sources, okay? I mean the online articles, okay, as your input of the research, okay? Normally, we will get the relevant online articles from Emerald, Elsevier, Science Direct, Taylor and Francis, so on and so forth. Normally, we do not put the priority to Google Scholar, because Google Scholar, I mean, this database doesn't filter the quality of the paper properly. So if you do not have enough experience to conduct a research, maybe you have a high tendency to use a low quality of paper as your main material of your dissertation or your online article. So normally I will suggest my students, okay, stick to a relevant database. For example, Emerald, Science Direct, Elsevier, Thales and Francie, as their main source to get the online articles for reading or for investigating certain new knowledge. Okay, and of course we should try to avoid any confusing research lah. Okay, so this is the good practice that we should have when we conduct a research. For example, we should know how to identify the research scopes so that we can produce a good research question, research objective, and research hypothesis. Okay, and we should know how to construct a firm research framework from the relevant theory and models. Okay, and of course, we should know the problem statements lah. Okay, what are the problem statements based on every variable in the research framework? This is very important. And we should learn how to handle the data set. Okay, how to clear the outliers, how to clear the asterisk value, how to handle the data set is very important. Okay, and we should learn how to use the relevant software, for example, SPSS, AMOS, Smart PLS, or ANOVA, okay, to interpret the data. Okay, I think these are the things that we should bear in mind, okay, whenever we conduct a research. Okay, and of course, okay, we should learn how to present the data in a professional way. Okay, and how to read the results output, how to determine whether the result output is considered as a good, poor, or moderate level. Okay, because different statistical tests has its own rules of thumb and assumption. Okay, so maybe we need to explore more, okay, to learn how to interpret the research output. Yeah. So I hope this slide can create a alert, okay, or awareness among you and me, okay, whenever we want to conduct a research. Okay, so basically this is the introduction part, okay, for our training this afternoon. And now, okay, we have one more. Okay, what is research methodology? Okay, whenever you go through any online articles, okay, or when you want to prepare your Master of Science or PhD dissertation, for sure there is a special space for you to elaborate the research methodology. Okay, so what is a research methodology? Let's look at the descriptions here. Research methodology refers to a systematic way to solve the research problems or to answer the research questions. Okay, and I believe, okay, we already explained the problem statements and research question in chapter 1 or the beginning part of the online articles. Okay, so when we come across to research methodology, okay, we will explain, okay, starting from the way you start the research until you end the research in a systematic way. So basically, this is all about research methodology. Okay, so I prepared a flow chart for you. Basically, this is the important elements that every one of us will come across with whenever we want to conduct a research. Okay, the first steps before we conduct a research always start from research problems. As what I mentioned just now, when we want to conduct a research, that means we want to solve certain problems or issue happens in our daily life. Okay, so we should know how to prepare the research problems. Normally, we can identify the research problems from two ways. Okay, number one, okay, we can identify the research problem based on our observation in the daily life or our personal experience in the daily life. But for sure, okay, all of these important points should be supported by online articles. Okay, and method number two is we identify, okay, or we determine, okay, the major problems of each research topics from the online article, because definitely, okay, we do not know everything happen around us every day. So we need the help from the online articles, okay, to improve our knowledge. So this is the second method to identify the research problems in a social science research. Okay, number one, your observation or your personal experience in daily life, and number two, you identify, okay, that particular problems from online research articles. Okay, so this is step one. Okay, and we have step number two. Okay, we need to know the correct way to plan your research flow. Okay, so later on, I will explain to you how to prepare the measurement table, how to calculate the sample size and sampling technique. Okay, and then what are the methods to collect data? Okay, how to handle your data set, and finally, how to use the software, okay, to produce the research output and how to interpret the data. And finally, okay, conclusion. So basically, this is an overview for all of you, okay, the steps to conduct a social science research. Okay, so now let's look at stage number one. Okay, definitely, okay, we need to have a clear research question and research problems. Okay, so after we already have a clear research question, research objective, or research problems, then we will have a more clear mindset. Okay, we will know more, we will know very well what are we going to do. Okay, what are the variables that we should consider in a research framework? Okay, so these are the fundamental things that we should have on our hand, okay, before we proceed further. Okay, and of course, okay, we need to read a lot, okay, to improve our knowledge, and we also need to conduct a literature search, okay, to get the relevant citation to support the view in the paper or the dissertation. Okay, so basically these are the things that you should conduct under stage number one, formulations of research problems. Okay, research problems always come first, okay, before we proceed further. Okay, so this is stage one. So this is the example of PowerPoint slide from my PhD Viva. Okay, so you can see the examples of problem statements here. Okay, for example, last time I want to conduct a research regarding to solid waste management. Okay, so I already determined, okay, environmental knowledge as one of the important variable in my research framework. Okay, so I need to prepare the problem statements regarding to environmental knowledge, because this is one of the variable in my research framework. So you can see from your screen, okay, these are the important points that I extract from the online articles. For example, low knowledge level of the citizens. So this situation will create a huge volume of solid waste, and this situation will lead to environment pollution. So this is the reason why, okay, I will conduct a research on recycling. Okay, so you need to have such information with you as well when you prepare your online articles or when you want to prepare your Master of Science or PhD dissertation. Okay, so this is an example for you. Okay, the examples of problem statements. Okay, next. Okay, preparations of research design. Okay, so once we already have a clear research objective, research problems, and research question. Okay, so now we will plan the research framework. Okay, I will show you the example of research framework in the next slide. Okay, so that's under stage number 2, we need to have research framework and we need to plan, okay, the duration of the entire project. Okay, and then what are the possible or potential research hypotheses that you are going to conduct for the project or for the research. Okay, so this is all about the research design. Okay, I will show you an example in the next slide. Okay, so as you can see on from your screen, okay, this is the conceptual framework from my PhD dissertation last time. Okay, so for a PhD level, okay, your framework should consist of independence variable, IV, dependence variable, DV, and then you should have a mitigating variable and moderating variable as well. If you are a PhD student, okay, you need to make sure your research framework, okay, is big enough, okay, for you to create the contribution to the body of knowledge. Okay, so this is my PhD conceptual framework. Okay, and as I told you at the beginning of these sessions, okay, in a social science research, your framework should be able to get the support by theory and model. Okay, so if you are a Master of Science or PhD students, okay, you should have this slide with you during your proposal defense or viva voce. Okay, in the future. Okay, so this is an example of social science conceptual framework lah. Okay, so okay, let's look at this slide. Okay, what are the additional consideration for you to prepare the research design? Okay, for example, you should be very clear, okay, why you want to conduct this research. And you should know very well what is your research all about. Okay, this is number 1. Number 2, okay, what is the study period? Okay, just for your information, according to the guidelines given by Malaysia Ministry of Higher Education, MOHI or KPT, okay, under a normal situation, okay, a Master of Science students should complete their studies within 2 years. Okay, and for a PhD students, okay, according to the ministry guidelines, under a normal situation, you should be able to complete your studies within 3 years. Okay, this is under a normal situation. Okay, so you need to plan your research design according to this duration given by the ministry. Okay, do not do too less or too much. Okay, too much means you are unable to conduct a particular research within 3 years. I think we need to be practical and realistic. Okay, just do anything which can help you to fulfill the minimum requirement of Master of Science and PhD. I think that is good enough. If you want to expand or make your research group much more bigger, okay, maybe you can register a postdoctorate in the future. But at this point of time, okay, please make sure you finish your Master of Science and PhD within the particular period of time given by the ministry. I think this is more important. Okay, and number 3, okay, where is your research location? Number 4, okay, how are you going to plan the research flow, okay, to solve the research problems? Okay, And then what types of data are you going to use to answer the research objective or research problems? You may consider primary data or secondary data, okay, as your data set. Primary data means, okay, you collect the research data through survey questionnaire, okay, that is what we call as primary data. Secondary data means you interpret the informations 100% from published material. For example, government official report, company annual report, okay, newspaper, I mean mainstream newspaper or mainstream magazine, okay, so these are the examples of secondary data, okay. So we have two choices, okay, when we consider the types of data of our research, okay. And then what are the techniques that you are going to use, okay, to collect the data? Okay, I will tell you more in the following slide, okay. And then where can you get the reliable data, okay? And then how to determine the suitable variable for your research and how to measure them, okay? And then how to analyze the data, what types of inferential statistics that you are going to use to analyze the data, what software are you going to use to interpret the data. So these are the things that should appear in your mind, okay, whenever you want to plan the research flow, okay. So this is a checklist for everyone, okay. So if you have all these things in your consideration, I believe you can avoid, okay, a lot of silly mistake in your research, okay. So this is a checklist or reminder for you and me as well, okay. Next, okay, we have three types of research design, okay. Basically, we have exploratory research, descriptive research, and causal research. Okay, these are the three common research design that we can see from a research social science research. Okay, now we will look at the types of research design one by one. Okay, exploratory research. Okay, normally when we plan to conduct an exploratory research, that means we have some new concept appear in the society, or there is a new issue, a very new issue, okay, or a very new problems, okay, occurs in the society or in the country, and you are among the first researcher, okay, to conduct such research because you want to gain familiarity or to achieve new insight, okay, from that kind of situation. So this is what we call as exploratory research, okay, because you want to get the preliminary information or preliminary understanding based on that particular situation. So we call it as exploratory research, okay. And then this is type number 2, descriptive research. Okay, descriptive research means maybe you conduct a research by collecting the trend or the flow of a situation. Okay, for example, this one. Okay, the market potential for a product, the demographic and attitudes of consumer who buy the product, daily updates of COVID-19. Do you still remember during MCO period? Okay, the ministry or the government will have a daily report on TV at 5 p.m. every day. Okay, so if you are conducting a research by that time, maybe you are interested to collect the data, okay, according to the daily COVID-19 cases that has been identified in Malaysia, okay? So this is one example of descriptive research, okay? Because basically you conduct the entire research by using the frequency or the number of counts, okay, throughout the research. So this is the example for descriptive research because you are counting, you are using number, okay, to conduct the research, okay, descriptive research. And we have one more, causal research, okay, causal research. Causals mean cause and effect. That means you are, for example, you are going to identify the significant relationship between one IV and one DV. Okay, so in this situation, we can call the research as causal research. Okay, because causal refers to cause and effect. Okay, so this is one of the example under the causal research. Okay, you are testing a causal relationship, okay, between independence variable and dependence variable. Okay, so this is what we call as causal research. So basically, these are the three popular types of research that we can find in a social science research. Okay, number one, exploratory research. Number two, descriptive research. And number three, causal research. Okay, next, we will move to the research approach in a social science research. Okay, basically, we have quantitative research, quantitative approach, qualitative approach, and mixed approach. Okay, quantitative approach means you are conducting a quantitative research. Okay, so for a quantitative research, okay, it means you are collecting the data by using survey questionnaire. Okay, so this is what we call as quantitative research. Qualitative research, qualitative approach, it means we are conducting a qualitative research. Okay, so the example of qualitative research may be interview, group discussion, okay, case study, so on and so forth. Okay, qualitative approach. And for the last one, mixed approach. Mixed approach means you combine quantitative and qualitative approach together in a research. So we call it as mixed approach. So basically, these are the three types of approach in a social science research. Okay, but of course, okay, three of them have their own pros and cons. Okay, so if you want to learn more about the pros and cons of the three types of research approach, I would recommend you to check it from a research method reference book. Okay, so now let's look at the first one, qualitative research. Okay, so we need to know, okay, the purpose, okay, to conduct a qualitative research. Basically, if you want to get the primary exploratory information, we need to conduct a qualitative research. Okay, and the example of qualitative research are focus group discussion, okay, individual interview, maybe you will conduct an interview with a group of people, okay, and get some new input or new insight from the participants. So that is what we call as focus group discussion, okay. And if you want to have an in-depth understanding towards certain scenario, maybe we can conduct a one-to-one interview with the expert in that field. Okay, so that is the example of individual interview. Okay, and of course, okay, you conduct the research by going through a long period of observation process. Okay, that is also considered as the example of qualitative research as well. Okay, so basically, if you choose to conduct a qualitative research, the number of participants is relatively small as compared to a quantitative research. Okay. Normally, we will have not more than 20 participants, okay, under a qualitative research. Okay. as compared to quantitative research. Okay, for quantitative research, okay, basically we will have a larger sample population. Okay, for example, 384 people or 400 people in a research. Okay, so this is what I mean. Okay, larger sample population as compared to the previous one, quantitative research. Okay, and when we want to conduct a quantitative research, that means we are quantify the collected data. Okay, and maybe later on, when we want to interpret the total score of every variables in the research, also in the research framework, okay, we will further classify the total score of each variable into high level, moderate level, and low level. Okay, so that is one of the example for quantitative research. And when you conduct a quantitative research, right, you need to make sure, okay, the variable is measurable. Okay, so if you have a measurable variable or measurable research data with you, okay, that is a quantitative research. Okay, so this is the example for us to conduct the quantitative research. Okay, we will use survey questionnaire. Either you are using a printed version, I mean paper-based version of survey questionnaire, or you conduct the questionnaire, or you conduct the research fully online. That means you import all the question into a Google form, okay, and then you blast the Google form through the digital media, for example, your Facebook account, your Instagram, WhatsApp, email. Okay, so these are the way to conduct online survey. Okay, so basically these are the general informations for quantitative research lah. Okay, so you can see the comparison between quantitative research and qualitative research from this slide. Okay, so the very important thing is you need to know the reason why you select qualitative research or quantitative research. You should know the reason. Okay, normally, okay, quantitative research is used to test the hypothesis, or we want to answer a specific research question. Okay, however, for qualitative research, okay, we will use it to discover new idea, or we want to get a more detail, or we want to get a in-depth understanding towards a particular phenomenon or situation. Then we will conduct a qualitative research. Okay, and of course, for quantitative research, it must be measurable. Okay, and we will conduct certain inferential analysis, okay, to test every research hypothesis in the research. Okay, and as compared to qualitative research, quantitative research is a more structured way to conduct the research because you already have a fixed question list with you. Okay, so you will stick to the list of questions to conduct the research by using questionnaire. Either it is an online questionnaire or it is a paper-based questionnaire. Okay, and then the result that we derive from quantitative research is more objective, okay, because we already have a fixed measurement skill and we already have a fixed question with us to reflect every variable in the framework. Okay, so quantitative research output is in a more objective forms as compared to qualitative research. Okay, because for qualitative research, you will get the output from interview, discussion, or conversations between a group among a group of people. So maybe the outputs involve some personal thinking, personal experience, or personal feelings. So the output that we get from a qualitative research is more subjective as compared to quantitative research. Okay. And for sample size, okay, the sample size for qualitative research is much more smaller as compared to a quantitative research. Okay. And usually we will use qualitative research in a exploratory research design. Okay. And usually we will conduct a quantitative research, okay, under the descriptive and causal research design. Okay, so basically these are the major differences between a qualitative research and quantitative research. Okay, and now we will proceed to stage number 3. Okay, operationalization and measurement. The measurements, okay, in a research methodology perspective, okay, refers to the question, okay, what types of question that we are going to use to test that particular variable. Okay, we call it as measurement. Operationalizations means, okay, we need to identify, or we need to understand very well, okay, the definitions of that particular variable. Okay, so we call it as operationalization. And basically, we have two types of operationalization in a social science research. Okay, I will show you in the next slide. Okay, for example, okay, this I get this slide from my PhD Viva Voce slide. Yeah, okay, so in that research, okay, attitude is one of the IV in the research, and this is the DV, okay, for that research. So we need to prepare the conceptualizations of the variable in terms of conceptual and operational. Okay, so now let's look at this one. Conceptual definition. Okay, conceptual definitions means the original meaning, okay, or the original definitions of this variable. Okay, and normally for a conceptual definition, we will get it from online article. Okay, because we want to know the original meaning or the original definition, okay, before we mix it with DV, dependence variable. Okay, so this is the original definitions of attitude. Okay, so we call the original definitions as conceptual definition. Operational definitions means, okay, how we test this variable in the present research. Okay, so basically we have two ways to present the answer. Either we tell the examiner, okay, the measurement skill that we use to test attitude in present research. For example, I use five-point Likert scale. Okay, number 1 refers to strongly disagree until number 5 refers to strongly agree. So this is the measurement skill that I use to test the attitude in the present research. So in this situation, we call it as operational definition. And we have another way to present the operational definition. Okay, once we already have the questionnaire with us, right? Maybe we can identify, okay, the important element or the important criteria under the IV. Okay, for example, for egoistic concern, okay, these are the important elements for this variable. For example, okay, egoistic concern always closely related to me, my lifestyle, my health, my future. Okay, so these 4 elements refers to egoistic concern. So this is another way to present your answer under the operational definition as well. Because as I mentioned just now, operational definitions means, okay, the way we test the independence variable in the present research. However, for a conceptual definition, it means the original meaning or the original definitions of this variable in previous research article. This is what we call as conceptual definition. So these are the two examples of conceptualization. Okay, number one, conceptual definition. Number two, operational definition. Okay, so that's all about stage number 3. Okay, conceptualization. Now we will proceed to stage number 4. Okay, sampling. Samplings means how you select the representative from the original population in a city or in a country. Okay, that is what we call as sampling. Sampling is very important because it is impossible for us, okay, to interview or to conduct the data collections with all the people in a city or in a country. So this is the reason why we need to conduct a sampling process. Okay, so under stage number 4, okay, we need to consider who is the target population. Either the population is household, low income household, okay, university students, e-wallet user, transportation user, or how. Okay, so number 1, we need to determine the target populations for the research. Okay, number 2, we need to have the informations of the total populations in a city or in a country. Okay, so it depends on your research location. Okay, why we need to have such information with us? Because we need the information to help us to calculate the sample size. Okay, and next one, okay, how will we select them? Okay, so it refers to the sampling technique. Either whether you are using multi-stage sampling method, or you are using convenient sampling method, or you are using simple random sampling method, or how. Okay, so these are the things that you should consider under stage number 4, sampling. Okay, and you should report all this information in your dissertation and in your online articles and in your articles as well. Okay, so this is one of the example, okay, that I get from my Master of Science students. Okay, so my student is using multi-stage sampling method to conduct the research. Okay, so just for your information, multi-stage sampling method means, okay, a sampling technique which involve 3 layers and above when you want to select a particular person to involve in the survey questioning. Okay, for example, okay, my student include 3 stages under the multi-stage sampling method. Stage number 1, okay, my students choose purposive sampling method because she conduct a research at Johor. Okay, Johor is a state in Malaysia. Okay, so maybe she purposely select this location because of certain reason. Okay, so we call it as purposive sampling method. Okay, next, my students will further classify, okay, the Johor state into different district. Okay, and then my students will calculate the quota, okay, for her to distribute the questionnaire according to this proportionate stratified random sampling method. Okay, so if you are using this proportionate stratified random sampling method, then you will be able to calculate the maximum number or the quota that you are going to distribute your questionnaire in order to cover up the entire district, okay, in a state. Okay, so we call it as disproportionate stratified random sampling method. But if you are using this method, right, it involves short calculations lah. Okay, and once this researcher already identified the quota for every district in the state, then she will start distributing the questionnaire to working adults, because working adults is the target population in the research, okay, by using systematic sampling method. Systematic sampling method means you select a simple, you select a random starting point, and then you calculate, for example, okay, you will distribute one questionnaire to every 5 person you meet at the location, okay. So this situation, we call it as systematic sampling method. So if you have, if your sampling technique involve 3 or more stages, okay, we call it as multi-stage sampling method. Okay, so this is the example for sampling technique. Okay, I think this is a very important session or subtopic in your dissertation or in your paper writing. Okay. Okay, so this is a summary, okay, for you. Okay, in a social science research, we have 2 main types of sampling technique. Number 1, probability sampling technique, and number 2, more non-probability sampling technique. Okay, so if you want, let's look at the red box first. What is a probability sampling technique? Okay, it refers to the likelihood of any one of the member of the population being selected is known. That means you know the exact number of the population in certain region or in certain city or country. So in this situation, you are allowed to choose, okay, probability sampling technique as as your sampling technique in your paper writing or in your dissertation. So you can look at the example of probability sampling technique. Okay, we have simple random sampling, systematic sampling, stratified sampling, and cluster sampling. Okay, so this is group number 1, probability sampling technique. Okay, so we will use it if we know the total number, the exact total number of population, okay, in a city, or in a country, or in a region, or in a province. Okay, so this is what we call as probability sampling technique. And we have group number 2, okay, in green box. Okay, we call it as non-probability sampling technique. So normally we will choose this technique when we do not know the exact numbers of population, okay, in a city or in a country or in a region or in a province, okay. And normally we will use this technique when we conduct a online online research. Okay, that means you distribute, okay, the questionnaire through online method, for example, social media, okay, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, WhatsApp, okay, or email, okay, or Google Form. Okay, so you will use non-probability sampling technique. So the examples are convenience sampling, snowball sampling, quota sampling, and finally, judgmental or purposely sampling method. Okay, so in order to know the application of each of the sampling technique here, okay, you should refer to research method reference book, okay? Because we only have 2 hours today, so I think it is impossible for me to explain the application for you one by one, okay? So this is just an overview for you, okay? And I hope I can create an awareness for you to explore more, okay, after you attend the training today, okay? So this is what I want to share with you today, okay? We have two groups of sampling technique. Number one, probability sampling technique, and number two, non-probability sampling technique, okay? And then we'll proceed to stage number 5, okay? Data collections or data preparations, okay? So you need to plan, okay? Starting from A to Z. How are you going to start the data collection process and how you end the data collection process? So this is why we need to determine the sample size before we start distributing the questionnaire, okay? And then what is the target population? What is the research location? Okay, so this is all about data collections. Okay, and once you already finish collecting the data, how are you going to handle the data set? This is what we call as data processing. Maybe you will import, okay, all the collected data in Excel form or SPSS, okay, or Smart PLS or AMOS, okay. So these are the example of data processing, okay. What software are you going to use, okay, to handle the data set, okay? So these are the things that will happen under stage number 6. And finally, okay, data analysis and interpretation. Once we already input all the collected data into a specific software, okay, how are you going to analyze the data? Okay, so it refers to the statistical analysis. Okay, maybe you will conduct t-test, ANOVA, logistic regression, multiple regression, Spearman, what else? Pearson correlation. So we have so many types of statistical analysis, okay, under the research methodology. Okay, so how to select the correct statistical analysis for you? It depends on your research hypothesis. Okay, and once you already conduct the statistical analysis, okay, then you should be able to present the research output by using a suitable table, okay, in your paper or in your dissertation, okay. I always tell my students, do not direct screenshot the table of SPSS and put it in the dissertation. I don't think this is the correct way, okay, for a students. Okay, so for every Master of Science students or PhD student, okay, you should learn the correct way to present the data based on the types of statistical analysis that you use in your Master of Science or PhD research. Okay, so that is what we call as statistical analysis. Once you already have the research outputs with you, then you should be able to interpret your finding. You should be able to understand, okay, what are the numbers, okay, means to you, okay, whether the research output is considered as strong relationship, moderate relationship, or weak relationship. So you should understand the rules of thumbs, okay, of each statistical analysis that you use in your dissertation or your paper writing. Okay, so this is what we call as interpretation. And as what I have mentioned at the beginning of this session, okay, you should be able to compare, okay, your current research output with the previous research outputs, whether they are in line among each other or whether they are contrasting among each other. So you need to know, okay, and you should be able to explain why such situation happened in your current research. Okay, so this is what we call as data interpretation. Okay, so I think that's all. Okay, for the 7 stage that you should know when you prepare the research design. Okay, so this is the recap for everyone. Okay, number 1, okay, all of the research should start from research problems. Okay, if there is no major or observable research problem with you, that means the research is meaningless, because the main reason for us to conduct a research is to solve a problems. However, if there is no problems under such phenomenon, that means the research is not necessary to have. Okay, so all the research should start from a realistic or practical research problems. Then we will proceed to research design. Okay, how you plan the entire research process. Okay, starting from you determine your target population, you get the basic information about that location or population size, until okay the way you collect the data, what types of sampling technique that you are going to use to collect the data, so on and so forth. Okay, so this is all about data collections. Okay, you should be able to explain it, okay, either in your Master of Science or PhD dissertation or your paper writing. And then you should be able to use the relevant software to handle your data set. And finally, you should be able to analyze the research data, and you should be able to explain it. Okay, you should understand what does the particular output, okay, contribute to your current research. Okay, and of course, okay, you should be able to conclude your entire research at the final last chapter or last sessions in your dissertation or paper writing. Okay, so basically these are the common steps that we should undergo when we conduct a social science research. Okay, and now we will move to the second part of the training this afternoon. Okay, so now I will explain what is a quantitative research method, okay, to all of you. Okay, as what I mentioned just now, okay.
Doctor you mute your mic already, doctor.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, okay. Okay, wait a minute. Okay, one minute. Thanks for telling me, Carmen. Okay, so now I will explain to you, okay, what is a quantitative research method. Okay, so if you want to conduct a quantitative research method, it means you are collecting the data by using questionnaire. Okay, and there are 8 steps under a quantitative research method, starting from stage number 1, identify measurement skills, until the final steps, report finding. Okay, so I can see this is a checklist for us if we want to conduct a quantitative research. Okay, so now we will look at the steps one by one. Okay, step number 1, identify measurement skills. Okay, measurement skills means the way we collect the response, okay, from the participants. For example, either you are using 5-point Likert scale or you are using 5-point Likert type scale. Okay, so these are the two common measurement skill that we will use in a social science research. Okay, so number 1, 5-point Likert scale. It refers to, okay, we use number 1 refers to strongly disagree until number 5 refers to strongly agree. So this is the skill, we call it as 5-point Likert scale. And if we are using any other types of skill rather than 1 refers to strongly disagree to 5 refers to strongly agree, we call it as 5-point Likert type skill. For example, you use 1 refers to never and 5 refers to always, or 5 refers to strongly disapprove to 5 refers to strongly approve. So these are the example for 5-point Likert type skill. So normally we will determine the suitable measurement skill in a research by going through the literature metrics. We will follow the majority. If most of the previous researcher use 5-point Likert scale, then we will follow them to use 5-point Likert scale to test that particular variable in the research. Okay, but first and foremost, we need to have a research hypothesis statement with us first. Okay, so this is one of the research hypothesis from my PhD thesis last time. Okay, okay, I will read that for you. There is a significant relationship between a household attitude and the intention to practice solid waste segregation at source. So from this statement, we know that attitude is IV. Intention to practice solid waste segregation at source will be the DV in the research. Okay, so now we already identified what is the IV and what is the DV in a research. So the next thing that I'm going to do is, okay, I will create a measurement table, okay, to collect the relevant question that has been used by the previous researcher in previous paper. Okay, and at the same time, I will observe what are the measurement skill did they use in the previous research as well. Okay, so I will have a measurement table with me. So this is the measurement table. Okay, and I think we should report it in a dissertation as well. Okay, so for example, this one. Okay, this is a measurement table for attitude and my DV. Okay, so this is the measurement tables look like. Okay, I will have numbers of the question, items, and the source of the question. Okay, for example, question 1 to 5, I get it from this author. Question 6, I get it from this author. 7 to 10 from this article. And finally, 11 to 14 from this article. So in a measurement table, you need to state it very clearly. Okay, what are the sources for every items under the particular section? In this case, these 14 items will use to test the attitude. Okay, and if there is any negative items in your questionnaire, okay, you should indicate it with asterisk sign, okay, and put it as the keynote there. Okay, so the examiner will easily understand how you construct your research questionnaire. So we call this table as measurement table. I think this is a must for all the researchers who conduct a quantitative research. Okay, so this is all about stage number 2. Okay, once you already collect all the items for each of the variable according to your research framework, then we will rearrange it and see whether there is any repetition, okay, in the table. If there is no any issue in the measurement table, then we will bring everything to your questionnaire template. Okay, so in a questionnaire, okay, normally it involves the demographic variables, okay, in order to classify the respondent background for you. And of course, it consists of all the items to help you to test the research variable. Okay, so basically these are the two important things that we should have in a questionnaire. Okay, so I will show you the sample. Okay, so these are the examples, okay, to test the respondent particulars. We have age, ethnic groups, marital status, sex, religions, schooling level, so on and so forth. Okay, so I think this is very common, okay, to use in order to classify the respondent particulars, okay, in your chapter 4 later. Okay, and the language of the questionnaire depends on your target populations. For example, last time I was conducting a research in a state. Okay, so I will use two languages because my dissertation was prepared in English. Okay, but not all the people in that state can understand English very well. So I prepare a bilingual questionnaire to conduct the research. Okay, so the language of your questionnaire depends on your target population. Okay, so these are the demographic variables that we can use to describe or to show, okay, the respondent particulars in the dissertation or paper writing. And this is the way we present, okay, the items to test each of the variable in the research framework. So in a questionnaire, okay, we will tell the respondent, okay, what are these items all about? For example, question 1, question 2, question 3. Okay, these 3 questions will use to test the attitude variable in this research. Okay, and then we will give a short instruction to tell the respondent, okay, what they're supposed to do when they receive this questionnaire. Okay, and then what is the measurement skill, okay, that you use to test the variable in the research. Okay, and these are the skills, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and what are the questions or items that you use to test this variable? Okay, so this is the way we present a questionnaire in a professional way. Okay, then before we distribute the questionnaire, okay, of course, we need to prepare a cover letter. Okay, cover letter is just like a general information to your respondent, okay, because he or she might not know what you are doing, so he or she may receive or read the information from the cover letter of your questionnaire. So under the cover letter, okay, you will explain the main research objective of your project, okay, and then you may encourage your participants, okay, to complete the questionnaire for you, okay. Of course, all the participation, okay, is in a voluntary basis, okay, from the from the research method perspective, okay, and you need to tell, okay, the participants, okay, their identity will be kept confidential, okay, and the collected data will only be used for academic research purposes only. Okay, so these are the main purpose for us to prepare a cover letter before we distributing the questionnaire to the participants. Okay, so this is the sample from my PhD questionnaire. Okay, so you can look at this paragraph. Okay, so in the first paragraph, okay, I explain what is the main objective of this research, okay, to the respondent. Okay, I also explain where is the exact locations for my research, okay, and then you need to tell the respondent, okay, he or she was selected through what types of sampling technique, and then you need to encourage them to complete the entire questionnaire for you, okay, and then you appreciate of their honesty, okay, and then you also need to tell the respondent, okay, they will take approximately 20 minutes to complete the questionnaire, okay, and then you need to tell them, okay, the collected data are purely for research purposes only, and all the identities will be kept confidential, okay, and then lastly, okay, you express, okay, your appreciation, okay, to all the participants, okay, and at the end of the cover letter, okay, you can share your contact informations with the participants, so when they have any question in answering the questionnaire, okay, they may contact you. Okay, so basically these are the important elements or important information that you should include in a proper cover letter, okay, before you distribute the questionnaire to your respondent. Next, okay, of course, pre-test is very important, okay, in a social science, okay. Normally, we will distribute 30 copies, okay, for the pre-test in order to determine the time taken, okay, of everybody to complete the questionnaire, okay, and then by going through the pre-test, you can see whether the respondent can understand the instruction or understand the question very well, okay, so you will receive the feedback from them when there are unclear or ambiguous question, okay, so at the same time, okay, you can test the reliability of the pretest, whether everything achieved at least 0.7 and above, or the another way around, okay, and you can also check whether all the items are mutually exclusive among each other or not, okay, so these are the main reason, okay, to conduct a pre-test in a social science research, okay, and we shouldn't skip these steps lah, okay, in a quantitative research, okay. So after we already finish the pre-test, then we will proceed to the actual data collection. So now we will distribute the questionnaire according to the sample size that we already identified in the earlier stage, okay. So actually we have many ways, okay, to distribute the questionnaire. For example, we can distribute the questionnaire through postage, okay, online platform, okay, or you deliver to the respondent, and maybe after 2 weeks or after 3 weeks, you go back to the particular research locations again and collect the complete questionnaire from your respondent. Or maybe you have a group of people to help you, okay, to conduct the research, okay. So this is what we call as collective administrative, okay. So, and of course, we have a lot more. We have many others methods, okay, to distribute the questionnaire. But of course, okay, every method has their own pro and cons, okay. So when we are going to consider a correct way, a suitable way to distribute the questionnaire, okay, we can go through the pro and cons of each channel, okay, this distribution channel, okay, before we distribute the questionnaire. Okay, and one more time, and once again, if you want to understand the pro and cons for each distribution channel, okay, you can check it from research method reference book, okay, because of the time constraint today. Okay, so this is all about step number 6, okay, the distribution channel of the research questionnaire. Then once we already complete the data collections process, then it is the time, okay, to analyze the collected data. If you are using quantitative approach, then I believe, okay, you can consider these 3 software, okay, to analyze the quantitative data. For example, SPSS, Smart PLS, or AMOS. Okay, these 3 software are the popular software in quantitative research. Okay, and finally, okay, once you already receive the research output, okay, you should be able to report the data and explain the data, okay, in your dissertation or in your paper writing. Okay, so as I mentioned to you just now, we have 2 types of data analysis. Number 1, descriptive analysis, and number 2, inferential analysis. Okay, descriptive analysis means, okay, we analyze the research output by using number, okay, frequency, percentage, so on and so forth. That is descriptive analysis. On the other hand, inferential analysis means, okay, you are conducting certain statistical tests, okay, to analyze the research output. For example, Pearson correlation, multiple regression, logistic regression, so on and so forth. Okay, so these are the examples for inferential analysis. So basically, these are the 2 types of data analysis that we use in a social science research. Okay, so I will show you the example for each of the data analysis. Okay, so this is the first one. Okay, we call it as descriptive analysis because we are showing the research output by using number, percentage, mean value, median value, standard deviation, maximum value, and minimum value. So these are the example of descriptive analysis. Okay, so if you present your data in this way, that means you are conducting descriptive analysis. Okay, and then we have another one, inferential analysis. Okay, so this is the example output, okay, that I derived from Smart PLS. Okay, so whenever you undergo any statistical test, okay, that means you are conducting inferential analysis. Okay, so this is the output from Smart PLS lah. Okay, and once you already have the research output in a diagram form, I mean, if you are using Smart PLS or AMOS, definitely you will have the output in a diagram form, okay? And then you should be able to present the data from a diagram form into a word form, okay? Something like this. Okay, so this is the correct way to present the inferential analysis if you are using Smart PLS. Okay, and of course, after you attach this table either in the dissertation or paper writing, okay, then you should be able to explain it. Okay, explain the output, or you should be able to explain, okay, what you understand from this table. Okay, for example, this one. Okay, how to determine whether, okay, this variable is significant or this variable is insignificant. Okay, and what are the meanings behind all this value. Okay, so you should understand your research output and put it in a word form. Okay, something like this. Okay, so this is the way we interpret the information from the table. Okay, and this is the way we conclude, okay, what we have found, okay, from the research. Okay, and of course, okay, at the end of the data analysis, okay, you should be able to identify, okay, whether your research hypothesis is rejected or fail to reject, okay, or significant or not significant, okay, because just now in chapter 1 or 2, we already have the hypothesis statements with us, right? So now, once we already finish the data interpretation process, okay, so we should be able to check, okay, whether this hypothesis, okay, was rejected or failed to reject. Okay, so you should have this table with you. Okay, if you are preparing a Master of Science or PhD dissertation. Okay, this is a summary table for your research hypothesis. Okay, and your research hypothesis should be aligned with your research question and research objective. So if you understand this table, okay, I hope you realize that actually, okay, research question, research objective, and research hypothesis, actually they are aligned among each other. Okay, it should be consistent. Okay, and this is the important elements for us to identify whether this hypothesis statement, okay, is significant or not significant if you are conducting a Pearson correlation analysis. Okay, so p-value and r-value are the importance value under a Pearson correlation analysis, and you should understand, okay, what are the information behind this value, okay, so that you will be able to conclude whether this hypothesis was rejected or failed to reject it. Okay, so this is very important, okay, in a Master of Science or PhD dissertation. Okay, and this is the way you conclude your research output. Okay, you need to have some write-up, okay, to conclude your research finding. Okay, so basically these are the steps, okay, that you should undergo when you conduct a quantitative research. Okay, starting from step number 1, okay, identify the suitable variable for based on your research hypothesis. Okay, once you already identified the research hypothesis from your research hypothesis or research framework, then you will start collecting the relevant question, okay, to test the variable. And of course, okay, you need to find the suitable measurement skill to test that variable as well. Okay, so during the literature search, okay, to construct the questionnaire, you can have a measurement table with you. Okay, then once you already prepare everything, you can start to prepare the draft of your questionnaire. Okay, and just now I also explained to you the importance of a cover letter. Okay, and once you already have a complete questionnaire, then you can proceed to pre-test. Okay, and just now I already told you, normally we will distribute 30 copies of questionnaire during the pre-test process. Once the reliability of the pre-test process achieved at least 0.7 and above, then we will proceed to the actual data collection. Okay, and the number of questionnaire that we distribute under stage number 6, okay, it depends on the sample size. okay, that we already determined in the earlier stage. Once we already finish collecting the data, then it is the time for you to import all the collected data into a suitable software, okay? And then you will start analyzing the collected data in descriptive analysis or inferential analysis, okay? And finally, okay, once you already finish all the data analysis, you should be able to present, okay, your research output in a professional way, okay? Do not straight away copy paste the table from SPSS into your dissertation or your paper writing. I don't think this is the correct way, okay? So I hope everyone can learn the correct way to present your research data, okay? And what are the rules of thumbs to determine the quality of the inferential analysis output? Either it is a weak relationship, moderate relationship, or strong relationship, okay? And at the end of your report, you should be able to conclude your finding and check whether the finding is able to answer your research objective or not, okay? And don't forget about the conclusion of your research hypothesis, whether the hypothesis was supported or not supported, okay? So these are the things that you should do, okay, if you are conducting a quantitative research, okay? So I think this is the checklist, okay? Step number 1 until step number 8. Okay, so I think this is the summary, okay, for the training this afternoon, okay? We will start the research process from here, okay? We need to identify the main problem or main issue, okay, occurs in our life, okay? So this is the first one, okay, research idea. Then we will start to conduct the literature review to find the problem statement, to find the research gaps, to find the relevant theory or model, okay, to support the research framework, okay? And we also need to understand, okay, the trend of the variable in the previous research. So this is why we need to have a literature review with us. Then, okay, we will form or we will construct a research framework based on what we have found here and here. Okay, we should have the research framework at this stage. Once we already have the research framework, okay, we need to make sure we fully understand the definition of each research variable in the research framework. Either it is in a conceptual definition or operational definition, okay? And then we will start to plan the flow of the research, okay? Starting from target population, research location, sample size, sampling technique, okay? Measurement table, and then what is the suitable software, okay, to handle the data set, okay? So this is all about the research design. Then we will proceed to data collection. We have 2 stages of data collection. Number 1, pre-test, and number 2, actual data collection. Okay, so these are the 2 stages under the data collections in a social science research. Then once we already finish the data collections process, then we will analyze the data by using suitable inferential analysis. Okay, and the types of inferential analysis depends on what we already promised in the previous part. Okay, I mean your chapter 1 or the introduction part. Okay, so we will conduct the inferential analysis according to the research hypothesis. Normally, we will use Pearson correlation, okay, to identify the significant relationship between independent variable and dependent variable. And if you want to determine, okay, among the groups of independence variable, which of the variable shows the strongest predicting power towards the dependence variable, we will use multiple regression. So in conclusion, the types of inferential analysis depends on what is your research hypothesis that you have already mentioned in introduction part. Okay, so once you already finish analyzing everything, okay, you need to check whether your research outputs are able to answer the research question that you mentioned in introduction part. Okay, and next you need to interpret, or you need to explain what do you understand about your current research output. That is why, okay, you should find some previous research to do the comparison between your current research output with the previous research output, and see whether the direction of the research output is aligned or contradicting among each other. Okay, so this is what you're supposed to do here. Okay, comparison with earlier research. And then, okay, I missed out this one. Theoretical interpretation of the results. Okay, yeah. Oh, sorry, I already mentioned this. Okay, you need to find some previous research and see the trend or the direction of the research output, and you should be able to do the comparisons. Okay, and finally, okay, you should be able to conclude your entire research as the ending of your project. Okay, so this is the flow of the social science research process. Okay, so if you have any question, okay, you can contact me through the channels that you can see from the screen now. Okay, this is my email. Okay, so if you have further question that you would like to seek for clarification, okay, you can reach me through this email address. Okay. And at the end of this webinar, okay, I would like to show my acknowledgement for these two parties, because most of the content derived from these two center. Okay, and I think that's all for today. Okay, thank you very much. And now I will check the chat box, okay, and see whether there is any question from the floor. And before we end the webinar, right, I will show the QR code for you. Okay, so you can scan the QR code and jot down your particulars, and we will prepare the certificate of participation for you. Okay, and for your information, okay, today we have the participants from INTI academic staff, and we also have a lot of participants from Cambodia. So we would like to express our gratitude and welcome, okay, our participants, researcher, academic staff, or postgraduate students from Cambodia. Welcome. Okay, so now if you have any question throughout the webinar, okay, you can jot it down, okay, in the chat box, and I will try to answer your question. Okay, or if you want to open your mic to ask your question, you are most welcome. Okay, and once we already finished the Q&A session, then I will show you the QR code to get the certificates. Okay. Okay, let me check the QR. Let me check the chat box. Okay, will this material be shared at the end of the webinar? Yes, if you jot down your attendance through the QR code, then we will be able to reach you. Okay, so later on, please jot down your information in the QR code. Yeah, okay. This is the question from Joachim Tang. Okay, next question. How to, okay, this is the question from Vinosh. How to calculate sample size for a pilot test? Okay, basically we do not calculate the sample size for pilot test, but we will calculate the sample size for your entire research project. Okay, so there are some criteria for us to choose the correct way to determine the sample size. Some of the people will use Cranji and Morgan table, but I think this method is already outdated because actually we have a lot more better choice to determine the sample size. For example, if you check the research method reference book, okay, you will see there are a lot of formula for you to choose, okay, and calculate the sample size for you. But the most important thing, okay, since we have so many formula to calculate the sample size, right? But of course, okay, all the formula has its pro and cons. Okay, so according to the research method reference book, okay, the correct way for us to choose the suitable sample size will be, okay, we will check whether the formula, that particular formula, okay, include confidence level in it, okay, whether we can find a confidence interval, margin of error, or target populations or population size, okay, in the formula. If there is any part of the formula, if there is any part of the formula include all these elements that I mentioned just now, that means that is a good formula for you to calculate the sample size. Okay, so we should consider confidence level, confidence interval, margin of error, and then, of course, we need to know the target population in the current research, and we need to know the actual population size, okay, at the research location. So if there is a formula which can include, if there is a formula which can consider all these 5 elements in it, that means that is a perfect formula for us to use to calculate the sample size. Okay, so I hope I answer your question, Vinosh. Okay. Can I know where is the QR code? Yeah, I will show you later, Miss Gita. I will show you later. Once I finish the Q&A sessions. Yeah, so please be patient. Okay, and then next one. Oh, Dr. Rotana. Some format of dissertations have IOC, items, objective, covariance, 3 experts before pre-test. Other test 30 respondent. Yeah, true. Dr. Rotana, you are very true. So actually, it depends on what types of format that we follow to prepare the dissertation. Yeah, yes. Thank you for your sharing, Dr. Rotana. Okay, next one. Okay, and we have one. Oh, there's a comment here related to biomedical research. I did experiments on animals. The findings were just to confirm objective without numerical data or hypothesis testing. I think this is a basic science study, yet I do not know if this is a qualitative or quantitative study design. Basically, most of the content that I share in this afternoon is more to social science research. Okay. However, based on your question in the chat box, for life sciences, I don't think there is any qualitative research in the field of life sciences. Yeah, so I think in a life sciences, based on my understanding, we not really classify the research design into quantitative or qualitative research approach. Okay, so I hope I answer your question. If the actual population is not known, how can we calculate the sample size? Okay, let me show you this one. Give me a minute. Okay, regarding to the sample size of unknown population, okay, based on my understanding, we can use Crengy and Morgan table. But if there is a way to determine or identify the actual population size, I will normally I will advise my I will advise my student always goes for formula, because it will produce a more accurate result for us. But for your case, maybe you have to use Crengy or Morgan, because if you look at the Crengy and Morgan's table, okay, you can estimate the actual population size, and then you will be able to determine the suggested sample size from KG and Morgan table. Okay, that is for sample size. And then in terms of sampling population, in terms of sampling technique, okay, you can refer to this table. Okay, if the actual sample size, if your actual population size is known in your research, and then we will go for population sampling. Population sampling technique. Okay, so these are the samples for population sampling technique. Okay, if you are conducting a research at a unknown population size perspective, then we will go for non-probability sampling technique. So you can you could consider these 4 examples for you, okay, to select the participants to complete or fill out your survey forms. Yeah, I hope I answered your question. Okay, and let's see if are there any other question in the chat box. Okay, I think I already finished all the question in the chat box. Okay, so I think that's all for today. Thank you very much. And before you left the meeting room, okay, I will show I will show the QR code for you, so you can jot down your particulars through the QR code, so we will able to share the webinar material with you if you jot down your attendance in the QR code. Yeah. Okay, wait a minute. So once again, thank you so much for the participants from the academic staff from INTI International University, and I can see that there are some participants from public university, as well as the researchers team, academics teams from Cambodian University. Thank you so much for your participation in this afternoon, and we hope to see you in the upcoming webinar. Okay, thank you for your time, and thank you so much. We hope you enjoy the sessions this afternoon. So before you leave the meeting room, okay, please jot down your particulars, okay, through these through this QR code, okay, so that we will be able to share the material with you. Okay, thank you so much and have a nice day, everyone. Once you already jot down your particulars in the QR code, you may leave the room, no problem. Thank you so much, and I will see you next time. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Doctor.